Guys, I have coffee break. How are you doing, everybody? This is Dr. Michelle for Coffee Break. How are you doing? It's Wednesday, and it's nice to go live once again. And I miss going live here at Coffee Break. And I know that many of you, ang dami nating trabaho, ang dami nating stress, ang dami nating pinagdadaanan, ang dami nating concerns. But hindi naman yun mauubos. But I would like us to think about some things, to have real life conversation about our well-being, our faith life, and of course our family and relationships. So this afternoon, I'm excited for our topic this afternoon because we're going to talk about raising teens. Kasi today is the birthday of my uh, favorite son, only son, Migo Alignay. So happy birthday, boy. So he's 16, and then I have a daughter who's 13, and technically I am raising teenagers. And alam ko, marami dito na yan din ang pinagdadaanan nyo kasi exciting na magpalaki ng teenagers, tama ba? So sa mga kaibigan natin nakikinig, paano natin iintindihin sila? How are we going to understand our teens? How are we going to support them? How are we going to hold hands with them, even though that they have a lot of hormonal issues, identity, identity concerns. So, if you would ask me, mahirap bang magpalaki ng teenager? Lahat naman mahirap, pero pwede naman intindihin at pwede naman paghandaan. Many people, when they reach this stage, sabi nila nakakasipangs kasi parang ayaw, they don't want to be kissed in public sa mga parents ng teenagers. Sige, mag-chat tayo. Tell me your thoughts about raising teens. Anong mga pinagdadaanan nyo at anong pinagdadaanan ng mga teenager nyo, or kahit kayo ay tito at tita or working with teens, what are the usual issues that you encounter with them? So let's just keep the ball rolling and talk about that. I will start with this discussion by a quote from my favorite family therapist in the name of Virginia Satir. She said that adolescents, meaning yung teenagers, they're not monsters. Adolescents are not monsters. They are just people trying to learn how to make it in the world, how to make it among adults in the world, and probably who don't know themselves. Kumbaga, tayo rin naman hindi natin kilala yung sarili natin. Hindi ba? Marami rin naman tayong pinagdadaanan. Minsan tayo mismo, hindi natin kilala kung sino tayo, kung anong pinagdadaanan natin. At minsan, if you are living with teenagers, hindi ba kaya madalas magkaroon ng clashes kasi we are unsure of ourselves also. Hindi ba? So, alam nyo, ang isa sa, I will share with you lang my personal reflections in raising teens. A little about what I know and some of what my own personal reflections. Hindi ba, come to think of it, friends, hindi ba kaya madalas magka-clash? Ayan, ginagaya ang actions ng friends. Well, let me correct that. Honestly, they're not, hindi nila ginagaya. They are actually in the stage of developing who they are and getting to know themselves. Kaya, well, they don't directly copy na kung anong gawin ng kaibig ko, gagayahin nila. No, they are just trying out. So this is the stage of exploration for them. So I'll go back to this quote. Adolescents are not monsters. They are people trying to learn how to make it among adults in the world who are probably not sure about themselves also. So tayo yon. So as I said earlier, ang isa sa pinakamatindi kong reflection is that our issues as a person is actually being mirrored when we are raising teens and we are raising adolescents. Tama ba, Ate Ami? Ate Ami Fortaleza, tama ba ang sinabi ko na yung mga issues natin, insecurities natin, minsan, kaya ayaw natin aminin, kaya tayo parang may, pride. We don't want to admit something. It's because nako-confront tayo ng mga teenagers natin kasi matalino sila, pinalaki natin sila. So, there you go. So, I would like you to reflect about that. That will be our point of conversation. So, I would like us to talk about raising teens. So, ano na yung mga issues na nangyayari sa bahay, mga bagay na nangyayari. So, let me just start this conversation by these four letters. Ito yung four letters na we will reflect about, and that is T-E-T-E-E-N. So, T is testing authority. Tayo yon. Minsan teachers. So, parang minsan magagalit tayo, bakit ka sumasagot? Bakit ayaw mong sumunod? Bakit sinabi ko na, uulitin ko ba? Ayan. So they're testing authority because they are in the process of getting to know themselves and exploring. Kaya yung sabi mo, Mommy JP, they might be trying out things and they're copying friends because they're exploring. Will this fit me? Will this suit me? Will this be something that I would like to follow? Will this be something that, suit me well? They're also exploring. They want to experience new things. Gusto kong masubukan. They're experimenting. Hindi lang explore. Hindi lang inaalam. They're experimenting. Itatry dito, itatry doon. Hindi niyo ba napansin? Kaya they try also to engage in sometimes sadly risky behavior. They try out alcohol. They try out cigarettes. They try out relationship because they're experimenting, even experimenting with music, experimenting with clothes, experimenting with barkada, experimenting with different interests. Is that normal? Actually, yes. It's normal when they start asserting. It's normal when they start exploring. It's normal when they're experimenting. And another one, they tend to be narcissists. Bakit sila narcissists? Because they're so centered on themselves. And centered on themselves, it's not because they're selfish, but because they're trying to get to know their identity. Kaya minsan kahit na-explain na natin kung bakit hindi natin sila pinapayagan, ang tendency is hindi nila makita yung perspective natin kasi para sa kanila, tama naman yung side nila eh. Alam, what I realized that many times, it's not about who's right or wrong. Tama naman yung adolescents, tama rin naman yung magulang. Pero, alin dun yung naaayon? Which one is healthy, which one is helpful, and which one is more fitting? Kaya, as parents, our tendency as parents is that when the adolescents are actually pulling, tama ba? So, yung nangyayari, kaya nagkakaroon ng conflict is that when the adolescent push, gusto ko to, ito yung gusto ko, ang tendency natin is that it magnifies our differences. Eh, bakit ka naiiba? Bakit itong balak natin iibahin mo pa? So, that increasing differences with family, our tendency is that sometimes we move away. Especially kung tayo ay meron mga issue at hindi natin ma-handle or parang give up na tayo. Meron naman magulang na they easily give up. There are still some parents in order to win their adolescents, lahat ng gusto ng adolescents, pinibigay. Pinagbibigyan, gusto ko nito. And then the parents would complain na parang, ay nako, hindi ko nga mahindian, ang tigas ng ulo, ayaw sumunod, gusto niya, lagi na lang siya yung masusunod, pero tapos sasabihin, nagkakaroon siya ng ganitong concern or baka magkaroon ng mental health issue. It's because we always, supply their needs, even their wants, and even their wins. Remember, they're testing authority. So they're testing who's the boss here. So just to catch this, JP, is it true that 0 to 13 is our window? It's not the window. It's where yes, it. I don't call it window. It's actually the formation years, the 0 to 12 to 13. That's the critical active parenting stage where we mold them. That is why in adolescence, pag hindi mo napalaki ng tama at kung meron kang mga mali na pattern, at tayong magulang kung hindi rin natin kilala ang sarili natin, pag yung anak natin ay naging 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, na kinikilala nila yung sarili natin, they actually confront a lot of issues. They actually try to clarify yung mga hindi naman tayo clear. Yung mga ang sagot lang natin, hindi ko alam. Or yung mga sagot natin, basta. Sila yung nagbibigay ng further definition because baka may mga unhealthy patterns that was not actually done. For example, you don't talk properly in the family. So, and then ang effect nun, for example, you like comparing one unhealthy pattern is for the pattern of comparing your children. You compare your oldest to your youngest, you compare your kids to other people, you compare yourselves to them. So that process of comparing can actually bring a lot of hurt, especially if yun na lang palagi, ang benchmark ba ng nanay ko at ng tatay ko at nitong pamilya ko na kung ano yung magaling is kung ano yung magaling sa kanila. Pero never mong, so, ang effect niyan growing up is yung bata, ang kanyang sense of self-worth ay bababa. Ang adolescence, dyan probably, likely, pumuputok yung problema. Ang nangyayari parang kinikilala nila yung sarili nila. And if our approval about them is always based on their achievements, at pag kinumpir natin sila sa iba, mas sila yung lesser, sila yung hindi nag-achieve, talaga ang tingin nila sa sarili nila is mas mababa. So, doon nagkakaroon ng manifestation yung problem. Because they're already asserting, they're trying authority, hindi na yung sasabihin ng parents, ang tigas ng ulo, ayaw sumunod, hindi sila matigas ang ulo. It's part of their development. It's part of their process. Probably there are some who are stubborn. Probably there are some who don't follow right away. But that's actually part of the ball game na kailangan niyong maging offensive, may defense, may offense. Ganon din yung pagpapalaki sa kanila. Kasi kinikilala nila yung sarili nila eh. Kung hindi mag-assert ang anak natin, kung hindi natin niya allow to speak with respect, i-share kung ano yung nararamdaman nila, tatanda yan, oo na lang ng oo. So pag pumasok yan sa relasyon, sometimes the effect is that they don't know how to stand up for themselves. If we don't teach our kids how to dream or how to build a life for themselves, lagi na lang nakasalalay sa nanay. For example, growing up, sinasalo mo lahat ng problema. May problema dun sa isang teacher, susugurin mo yung principal. May problema sa classmates, kakausapin mo yung classmate, haharangin mo sa gate ng school. Or susulatan mo yung principal na wag niyo i-classmate itong batang to sa anak ko kasi may problema sila. While we are well-meaning, take note parents, while we are well-meaning, those patterns na sinasalo natin lahat ng problema nila, hindi nakapasa sa quiz, gagawa ka ng paraan to write to the teachers to give your daughter another chance. Kahit naman you're gonna break the law. What is being ingrained in their system is that, oh, my mom will do something about it anyway. Even though I fail, sasaluhin ako ng nanay ko. Walang masama sa pagtulong. Walang masama sa pagtulong sa kanila. Pero hindi natin nabubuo yung kanilang resilience. We are not helping them build their backbone. So, when during the adolescence, meaning the teenager, you were saying, JP, na window ang childhood. No, it's where the formation happened. Because in adolescence, that is when we try to get to know them all over again. Dito actually lumalabas kung paano natin sila napalaki. Yung mga problema, there are actually the test. The test of tenacity, the test of faith, the test of the test of the test of resilience. Kaya kung ang tendency natin is hindi i-confront yung issue, hanggang ngayon, pag may problema anak nyo, hindi na pag-usapan yung issue, hindi kayo comfortable to talk to each other, that's a problem. Kung ang tendency natin is saluhin lagi yung anak natin kasi nakakaawa, ayaw natin magkamali, ayaw natin masaktan, ang tendency nun, posibleng humina yung loob ng anak natin or lalaki yung ulo. Mahina ang loob kasi laging may sumasalo or lalaki yung ulo kasi kahit naman magkamali ako kahit naman may awayin ako malulusutan niya ng nanay ko at ng tatay ko. Gagawa sila ng paraan. Meron silang superhero lagi. So it can be unhealthy. It can be unhealthy because we're not teaching them to grow up. So sometimes what we do at the present moment may seem okay, but in the long run, honestly, we are not allowing our kids to grow. And when we raise teens, teenage time is actually the time that we are bridging. This is the bridge. This is the bridge from the long stage of childhood to the stage of adulthood, which is long. So kumbaga, ito yung inuunti-unti natin sila na pakawalan. Ito yung inuunti na kaya mo na bang maglakad on your own? Kaya mo na bang kumausap ng tao on your own? Kaya mo na bang magdesisyon for yourself? Kung nagkamali ka, o sige, tingnan natin kung anong mali. Paano kita matutulungan? Pero this is the time that we don't do everything for them because they learn to do it on their own. So alam nyo, adolescence is actually a confrontation of the patterns that we have as parents. So dito lumalabas, sa aking experience, dito lumalabas kung ang maayos yung nagawa natin para sa kanila or hindi maganda yung nagawa natin para sa mga anak natin. Ito yon. Dito lilitaw. Dito yung breakthrough. Dito rin yung problema. Dito yung concern. At dito rin natin makikita kung maganda ba or hindi. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm just looking for my notes. I'm sorry. So here, this is actually our point of reflection. That is why many adolescents are confronting or mirroring the issues of the parents. So let's look at the changes with them, the change of independence or autonomy, and the change of they have this sense of individuation, being their own person, becoming who they are. They're developing themselves. And when they developing the self, they are trying to look at themselves. Their psychological eyes is looking at themselves na hindi ako tulad ng nanay ko, hindi ako tulad ng tatay ko. Ginagawa nila yon hindi dahil sa gusto nilang kumawala. Hindi nangyayari siya as a natural occurring developmental process to be able for them to be someone. So, if you fail in getting to know who you are, in developing your independence and individuality during adolescence, chances are we have a big problem in adulthood. Baka nagtatrabaho ka na, yung nanay mo pa ang nagkasubmit ng resume mo. Baka nagtatrabaho ka na, pag nagka-problema ka sa boss mo, tatawagan mo yung tatay mo para awayin. And that's not appropriate in adulthood, right? So here, we just have to reflect, where am I in parenting teens? Ang dami ko bang hugot? Let me just share with you. As I said, the changes is in their sense of independence and in their individuality. So parents, that kahit anong challenge natin, we have to learn how to balance. And I will share with you 4 areas that we need to balance, or 5 areas. Four areas that we need to balance. One is balancing our identity as a parent at anong identity ng anak natin. This is the time kaya naiinis tayo dahil hindi na nila, for example, hindi na nila gusto yung mga damit na pinati naman sinusuot nila. Yes, kasi iba yung type nila. Hindi na nila gusto lahat ng plano nating family. Yes, posible kasi that they have other plans with their friends. Remember, hindi mo naman personally for us, what we do, sinasabi namin, ito importante ito. You need to come with us. Doon sa iba mong plano, susuportahan ka namin, pero ito. So, hindi, give and take siya. So, it's actually a balance of, okay, you're doing that, we'll let you support, we'll support your plans and your interests because it's part of your identity development. But this is also important to the family. So, it's a balance between the relationship that our child, our teenager is developing with him or herself and the relationship he or she is balancing with the outside world, especially with friends and other people. And it's the relationship that they're balancing with themselves. We don't give up. Hindi porke ayaw ng teenagers natin, hindi na natin o-offeran, hindi na natin aayain. It's always a continuous na offering and collaborating. At hindi lahat fix, Then dapat pag ganito, dapat eh. It's really a flexibility ball game. So the things that we need to balance, our relationship with them and their relationship with themselves and other people. The second one, the second one, it's actually an issue. It's an identity check of balancing and knowing. It's actually a call for self-awareness. Self-awareness ng parents at self-awareness ng anak. Dito magandang tanong, kanino ba talaga yung issue? For example, you're talking about career choices. You're talking about career choices. Your child has a preference where he will study, what he will take, and of course, ikaw parang, hindi pwede yan, hindi pwede mangyari yan, ito talaga. And illogical yung reason mo. Sometimes, we want our child to take a course. It's because that's our, unmet needs. Ito yung gusto natin gawin dati na hindi natin nagawa. So, we would like our kids to fulfill our own, ito yung self-fulfilling prophecy na gusto natin magawa niya, yung hindi natin nagawa. Pero, they need to carve a life for themselves. So, kaninong issue yung career? Kung nagagalit ka dahil yun yung pinili ng anak mo, naku, wala namang kwenta yung course niya eh. So, kaninong issue yun? Hindi yung issue ng anak mo, issue natin yun. So, minsan, bakit issue mo na 18 yung anak mo nag-boyfriend or 18 yung anak mo nagkaroon siya ng boyfriend? Galit na galit ka. Pero mabait naman, patataas naman ang grade, pero galit ka pa rin kasi may boyfriend. Maybe it's because you have old issues in having relationship or you're not ready. Kasi nung panahon ko, hindi ako inalaw ng parents ko, or maybe because you yourself has a lot of insecurities. So sometimes, kaya critical yung adolescence because many times the parents are in their midlife like me, where they're in their midlife, we're in our 40s, at kinikilala natin ulit yung sarili natin. Same with the teenagers, kinikilala nila yung sarili nila. So magandang mag-reflect, kanino ba tong issue, sa akin o kanya? Sino bang may problema dito? Who owns the problem? Is it the parent or the child? So in any issue, you have to check, is this my issue or is it their issue? So it's really a call for higher self-awareness. So the first thing that we should check, it's a balance of their relationship with themselves and others. The second is that awareness of themselves and awareness, our own, the parent's self-awareness. So kailangan natin makita, kilala ko ba sarili ko? At this stage in our lives, friends, alam nyo, sometimes our biggest issue as adults, we don't know ourselves anymore. We got so wallowed up, nakain na tayo ng sistema, sinunod na natin kung ano yung dinala ng buhay. Kaya issue natin yung mga anak natin. Kasi sila, YOLO, you only live once. They're living the life that they like. They're trying to explore the world. But tayo parang, we feel so trapped in our circumstances. And then kung hindi natin kilala yung sarili natin, hindi natin ma-explain ng maayos yung mga reason, kaya tayo nagkakabanggaan kasi minsan adolescents would like, or not minsan, many times our teenagers would like us to explain why. And sometimes, ayaw natin pumayag kasi ayaw lang natin payagan. Ayoko lang, delikado, gabi na. Yan, ganyan lang yung discourse natin. Pero sila, this generation, they would like to understand kung bakit hindi. So, that is who owns the issue. It's a real call for self-awareness. So the first one is relationship, the second one is self-awareness or identity. The third, it's letting go and holding on or hovering. So how much are you willing to let go? Do you just let go? Many times parents, pag nagre-resist yung anak, sige na, bahala ka na nga dyan, they just let go. Wala na silang pakialam. Pero alam nyo, hindi pa rin siya totally walang pakialam kasi we need to care for them. But, 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 we also need to learn not to hover. Technically, pag high school sila, that's a different story. Pero when your kids turn college, especially mga nagkito 12, 18 na sila, adults na yan, technically young adults na yan. So, we allow them to choose their course, basta papanagutan nila or meaning they will do their best there. So, you just ask for accountability. But in college, hindi naman kailangan ng lahat ng friends, alam mo. Hindi lahat ng password, even the school access, alam mo. You don't need to monitor your kids in college in their school work. Kasi ibig sabihin, you might be insecure not with your kid's capacity but in your parenting ability. How much have you established interest for school, doing their best in the early age of their lives? Eh, walang interest sa school eh. O, so bakit nasa traditional school? Why is he not taking the course that they like? Tapos, we will be the one to fret na parang ayaw niya kasi. Yun yung ginagawa ng excuse. So, you don't let go just because they don't want to. So, you don't also hold on too much to the point na you are not allowing them to grow. Kung kailangan na nilang matutong mag-commute, so be it. Kung kailangan na nilang matuto na to 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 line up for something, so be it. Kung kailangan nila to suffer the consequences of their actions, mapuputol yung baon nila, mawawalan sila ng gadget kasi nawala yung gadget nila, huwag kayong maawa. Ito yung panahon na yon. So we need to let them go, but we need to allow them to experience real life for what it is and make them also be accountable and be able to learn from the lessons along the way. So dun papasok yung pang-apat, experiencing difficulties. Do we allow them to experience difficulties or we support them? Pag ba pinahirapan ko yung anak ko, hindi ba siya, hindi ba ako supportive? Alam nyo, ako personally, ang nakita kong pagkakaiba nung generation natin at saka generation, we live in a generation, as parents, ang tendency natin is that we operate on the mindset na ayaw natin ma-experience ng anak natin, ayaw natin ma-experience ng anak natin yung nahirapan tayo dati, pinag-commute tayo lagi ng nanay natin, parang bumabaha na, maglakad ka sa baha, tapos yung baon mo, magtiis ka sa baon mo, ganyan. Hindi pwedeng ibili ka lang ng readily, ibibili ka lang ng gusto mong damit, kasi ibibili ka lang kung may, kailan lang tayo bibili ng outfit, di ba, pag Christmas at saka kung birthday natin. Sorry ka pa kung December ang birthday mo, baka isa lang yung package mo. Pero what I mean here is that we need to realize na ay hindi pala dapat na ako personal to. I don't want to give a very, very good life for my kids. I want the best life for them. But it doesn't mean that the best life is giving them everything that they like. Kahit gusto ko ng sapatos, gusto ko ng bagong phone, hindi pwede. Meron tayong cap. So, meron na kaming tanungan ngayon. It's my son's birthday today. He's asking for, a pair of shoes. And then, magkano yung cap ng budget? Or dad, magkano yung cap ng budget? Hanggang dito ng anak. Ayan. So, pagkatrabahuhan mo, yung mga susunod, ipunin mo. Alam ko sa Christmas, may Christmas money ka. Ayan. Doon natin kukunin yung iba. So, hindi pwedeng lahat ibibigay. Gusto kong ma-experience niya kung ano yung na-experience ko dati. Honestly, that's where the grit happens. That's where diligence happens. Hindi ko naman siya papahirapan. They just need to learn the lessons along the way. So, I don't excuse my sons and my kids. My two teens, hindi sila excuse sa gawaing bahay. Kailangan nila maghugas ng pinggan. Kung kailangan ko silang pagalitan, papagalitan ko sila. Kailangan nilang matuto. Kung meron silang projects that they need to fulfill, they need to do it. Bibilan ko kayo ng ingredients, bibilan ko kayo ng materials, pero kayo pa rin ang gagawa niyan. Kung na-late ka, you have to do something with your time management. Kasi they need to experience difficulties and learn the lessons para hindi na nila uulitin. Because they need to grow up and mature from that. In the process, we support them. Kung magpupuyat sila, I'll just be here. I'll accompany you, but I will not do it for you. Diba? Alam ko meron kang difficulty with math, you practice that. What help do you need in other areas pero ikaw pa rin ang gagawa? Nobody will do it for you. I will not do it for you. Let's not always be in the rescue. Let's not always caution them from pain. Yun yung realization ko. If they experience heartache, if they experience relationship drift, sambawa, nag-away silang kaibigan nila, let's just hold hands and walk with them. But let's not, di ba may kasabihan, prepare your child for the world and not the world for your child. Hindi natin aalisin lahat dahil dadaan yung anak natin. No. You have to teach your child to crawl, to dunk, to walk fast, to run, to walk slow, to to glide, or alam mo yun, to duck, or go sideways if it's needed. That's how we flex, and that's how we bend. So the first one, we check the balance between our relationship between ourselves and our child. The second is that our identity, our self-awareness, it's the parent's issue or is it the child's issue. The third is that you have to balance letting go and holding on. And then the fourth, we need to balance experiencing difficulties and supporting them. And lastly, we have to balance communicating to them with authority and communicating to them at their level, at their as peers. Gusto ko yung narinig ko before with Francis Kong. Ang sabi niya, parents should not be the barkada of the kids. I agree with that. Because technically, how will we assert authority and moral ascendancy to our children kung ang tingin nila sa atin ang barkada? 'Di ba? Kung magandang mag-usap, kaya babalansehin natin hindi yung relasyon. The relationship will remain. I am the parent and you are my child. But at a certain point, maybe when we're adults, we can be friends. But right now, you are still under my authority. And when we talk, I will talk to you as a peer, but you still respect me as your parent. So it just means that we connect with them, we get to know what's happening to them in their world. But when we need to assert our authority, when we need to put down our feet on something, and when we need to actually tell them na ito talaga yung kailangan natin gawin. Sorry, there's no other way. We can assert that. Because friends cannot do that to you. Friends, they take you for granted. And we don't want that. Pinaghirapan natin yung na kaya sila lalaki ng tama. Kasi they have parents who would pull the strings, or put their feet down because it's needed, not because they want to pull the strings to get away with life. We are teaching them that life is not easy. We are teaching them that life is hard. We are teaching them that life will not always be fair. I think that's something that we need to balance in. Yeah, yes, Glenda, it's balance. So communicating with your teenagers in a tone of authority as a parent, but relating with them and connecting with them at their level, at the level of a peer. So when we communicate with authority, alam nila na tayo pa rin yung magulang, kahit na kinukulit natin sila sa crush, kinukulit natin sa ano nangyari sa school. So, kumusta yung assignment mo dito? So, what happened to this and to this and that? So, that is actually connecting with them. But then, when they need wisdom, when they need ano pong pwede kong gawin dito, I need your help on that, dad, pwede akong ganito, our authority, it's still there. And when we connect with them at their level, it just means that we are trying to understand what's going on with you. One of the best things that we can do right now is actually get to know our kids all over again, get to know their world. So never be afraid, friends, to ask. If you are raising teens like me, never be afraid to ask them why. Why do you think so? Ano ba yan? Ano bang interest mo dyan? Ano bang ginagawa mo dyan? Ba't ba type na type mo yan? Yan. Don't be afraid to ask them about their interests because you just might be interested. That's also, kahit na hindi mo gawin yung ginagawa nila, it means na nakikinig ka. Nakikinig tayo sa kanila at kinikilala natin kung ano yung we are trying to be supportive of what they like. Just to share with you, I think 2 weeks ago, my kids really would like to watch this movie. We've never watched movies since the pandemic, right? They really want to watch this movie. It's an anime, and I realized that okay, it's also supporting them on their interests because both of them, they're one boy and one girl. Their common interest is that that anime series, and then having that. It's actually, oh sige, mom, dad, gusto namin manood. Hinanap namin kung ano yung movie house na malapit, kung ano yung mag-fit sa schedule, and we brought them to the movie house, silang dalawang magkapatid. And then habang yon, so my husband and I just had a date. Nag-coffee na lang kami after. So, ang ganda lang. Kasi, for me, yun yung mga maliliit na bagay na they appreciate. It's connecting them at their level, but not actually stopping them from everything. So, friends, hindi madali na magpalaki ng teenager, but don't resist it. Ang madalas ko pong marinig, sasabihin, ako na talaga ang titigas ng ulo. Para sa akin, let's look at it in a different light. Hindi sila matigas yung ulo, they are just getting to know themselves. Hindi sila difficult, but these teenagers, they're in the process of becoming who they are. And they're also confronting our old wounds, our old issues, and mirroring other matters kung hindi tayo marunong tumanggap ng ating kahinaan, kung hindi natin aaminin na hindi natin alam, at sila rin yung magkakos din na ma-trigger tayo sa ating insecurities kung we're still hiding behind those wounds. So minsan alam nyo yung stance natin na basta ako yung magulang, ako lang masusunod. Yung stance natin na yun, it's not going to be very helpful anymore because it means that we're not open to evolve. So the biggest challenge that I will leave you with, we need to evolve as a parent. And it's not only us who will know everything, but we can learn things as we move along. We can learn things as we grow with our teens, and we can make it as we go along. So remember, it's all about balance. Yes, I agree. Sabi mo, Glenda, it's a balance. Yes, balance is the key. It's a balance of us and them relating with themselves and with us. It's a balance of letting go and allowing them. It's a balance of our own identity issues and their identity development. It's a balance of letting them experience hardships, mistakes, difficulties, but also supporting them in the process. And it's a balance of communicating with them with authority and connecting with them at their level or as peers. So, alam niyo, friends, marami pa tayong discussion regarding parenting teens. So, I hope that this is helpful for you. That's my reflections as I celebrate being a mom of a teenager, of two teenagers right now. So, I hope that this is helpful. Yan muna ang nguyain nyo. So, I would like to ask you now, what's your big takeaway for this afternoon? What is it that this is something that I didn't realize before, but I will learn about this now. And if you have any more suggestion on topic that we can actually cover here in coffee break, these kinds of issues, please shoot me an email or just send me a message so we can line it up. Okay, I'll see if I can line it up. So I hope that this is helpful for you. So please put there in the chat your comments, your suggestions, and of course your takeaway in this topic, raising teens. I hope that you keep supporting Coffee Break. I know I come live once a week. You can actually support Coffee Break by sending Facebook stars, or you can just send me a message. I can send you the Gcash details so we can continue the love here at Coffee Break. And of course, I will also um, um, plug my book, You Can Care for You, The Soul and Science of Self-Care. Promise, I am overwhelmed by the support and love of friends and everyone who's getting a copy. Meron pang bumili sa akin. One copy for himself, one copy for the wife. Kasi daw, magkaiba daw malamang yung take away nila ng husband niya. So, I would hope to see you again on another session of Coffee Break by next week, and I hope that you have learned something and that we can we can actually help each other in the process. So this is Dr. Michelle Alignay. This is my way of supporting you, and I hope that you pray for me, you pray for the mission that I do, and you support me here in Coffee Break. So magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Be blessed and keep loving and keep caring for yourself.